So it's 12:45. I'm on my night shift from 12 to 3, and it's not fun. Can't say I'm having fun. Last time aboard Freedom, we cruised to the Columbia River Bar to Astoria, Oregon. During our short stay there, we enjoyed a lot of what the riverfront has to offer, including a great maritime museum and the Goonies house. Before saying goodbye as we prepared to cruise 10 nautical miles to Owaco, Washington.
Freedom standing by in 1-3.
Roger, Captain. Are you inbound at Owaco? We're coming up on your stern. We could just slow down and trail right behind you.
Yeah, we're inbound to Owaco. I can kick it up a little bit too if you'd like.
Roger, Captain. We were just making sure you weren't stopped. I didn't want to have to pass you.
Yeah, Roger. We'll keep making way. I'll increase speed a little bit.
Roger, Captain. Thank you. We'll be standing by on channel 16 and 22. Coast Guard out.
Freedom switching back to 16.
Those the coasties?
Yeah, they're towing a boat. Can you see them? Behind us. Must be doing some real.
They're towing that?
Owaco is located on the southern edge of the Long Beach Peninsula on the north bank of the Columbia River where it meets the Pacific Ocean. We only came for the night so we'd be closer to the bar entrance for our early morning departure the next day.
You want me to pull it tighter?
No.
Or you're taking it? I feel like we're gonna hit the dock. Huh? Tight, tight. Are you happy, puppy? Hey, sweetheart.
After a quick tie-up, we were off to stretch our legs, checking out the shops on the water before a long and warm hike through Cape Disappointment State Park. I think we ended up taking the long way, but that was okay since there were great coastal views along the way.
It's so beautiful. Such a great view. Glad we came up here and didn't flake out and turn around on the road. Tomorrow, 5 a.m., we'll be headed back up the coast. Hopefully the wind keeps calming down and we'll get a good ride. Sean, are you afraid of, do you fear the ocean?
Yeah, it's nothing to screw around with.
No.
How about you?
Yeah. Oh, I fear her. She can swallow us up in a second. Oh, it's all uphill. Oh man. For another hour or so, we'll be back at the boat. If there was like a lemonade stand up here, that'd be great. And we're back at the marina 3.5 hours later. Hopefully she's doing okay. Here we go again. It's 5:06. We've got 36 hours ahead of us. We're gonna leave shortly. Head out and cross the Columbia River Bar. I can't say I'm too excited. I'm a little nervous. We can only hope that it's a calm enough morning, light winds, that going through will be safe and fast. If you're wondering what a bar is and why boaters talk about it like it's a big deal, here's why. A bar is a mix of shallow, shifting sandbars at the entrance of a river. The Columbia River, originating in the mountains of British Columbia, Canada, gathers water from a vast watershed heading to the Pacific Ocean, bringing with it millions of gallons of fresh water to collide with ocean swells. The resulting waves, enlarged by steady winds and shifting shoals, can exceed 40 feet. And over the past 200 years, over 2,000 vessels have sunk, and more than 700 people have died passing through, giving this area the nickname Graveyard of the Pacific. Many mariners agree that the combination of high seas from the Pacific meeting a long and mighty river like the Columbia and those shallow, shifting sandbars make the Columbia River one of, if not the, most dangerous bar crossing in the world. In fact, all commercial ships crossing the bar are required to have a bar pilot guide them through the 17-mile danger zone. The goal is to pass during slack or flood tide. This morning, we're cruising through at slack tide going 6.5 knots, with only 3 knots of wind. And given how swelly these conditions are with only 3 knots of wind at slack tide, we can't imagine crossing under any other conditions. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
These they're pretty good?
They're pretty good, yeah. We're kind of going head into them. I'd obviously be a lot more comfortable a different direction, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
33 miles into the trip. 5.25 hours in.
It's now 12:45 in the afternoon. Almost 7 hours on the water. I've been doing absolutely nothing, pretty much in the same spot since we left, besides my 3-hour nap. And Sean is definitely in the same spot, piloting the boat for a couple more hours, and then I'll take over, and maybe he'll take a nap. And yeah, pretty uneventful out here, which is good news. Not too bad, not feeling seasick or anything. I don't know if it's the Dramamine or the lack of huge waves, but these are pretty big, but they're spaced out again, so it's pretty good. And we've got 3.5, anywhere from 2.5 to 4 knots of wind, which is exactly where we like it, so hopefully it keeps up as we head up towards Nia Bay. How was your nap?
It's good. easier to sleep down there than up here. It's wider, it's more comfortable.
Was it loud?
Yeah, I don't think so. But it was nice. I don't think it's any louder up down there really than it is here. When you go over the waves, your body starts to levitate off the bed, and then you feel yourself squish back into it, back up a wave. I feel well rested. Short nap, but sometimes an hour is all you need. How are things up here?
Good, good. Got it all under control. All good.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again. Na 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 na, road again. Na 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 na.
Hey, on the road again.
On the road again.
6.7 knots on the road again.
Just hit 6.9 knots on the road again.
We'd much rather be on this road than any other road again. On the water road versus the paved road. Again. As expected, the hours rolled by, and we were once again reminded that we're never alone out here. So it's 12:45. I'm on my night shift from 12 to 3, and it's not fun. Can't say I'm having fun. And I'm starting to just get real drowsy. I was doing really good most of the day, and then I went down to bed at 8. I was going to do 10 to 3. So excuse me. So I went to bed from 8 to 10, thinking I would do 10 to 3. And I came up at 10, and Sean was still up here doing okay. And I was just so uncomfortable, kind of laying down and kind of groggy. And he ended up saying he could do it till midnight. So I ended up going back to bed until midnight. Here I am, 12:45. Everything changes when it gets dark outside and you can't see, and I mean, it helps me to just talk to you right now to keep me awake. So thank you. I have somebody to talk to, even though it's just a camera right now. I still feel like I'm talking to you guys, and this is definitely helping. My cell coverage keeps going in and out. So I had 3 shows that I planned on watching. I'm gonna try it out again. I don't know, maybe I'll be okay. I have 2 bars now. It figured that right in time for my night watch, my cell coverage just was terrible, so I couldn't watch my shows. So I had Below Deck, $1 Million Listing Los Angeles, and Real Housewives, and that'll definitely keep me up if I can watch it. But yeah, nothing really going on. We had a tugboat come, and about 45 minutes ago, right when I took over, the tugboat was going. It'll be interesting. Give me, a few hours at our next destination to see what my attitude is. But right now, I mean, these overnights just are not my thing. And with just Sean and I on the boat, and it'll likely always just be us doing our long passages, unless we can enlist some of our boat friends to help They're just really long, cumbersome, boring, mentally exhausting days. And that's what I've really learned. It's mental. It's your mind that goes nuts when you're 20 hours in and you know you've got 20 more hours to go and there's nowhere to go. The waves, the seas have been too lumpy to really do anything. So, if you have high hopes that you're going to accomplish anything, just don't have high hopes. You're pretty much going to sit. And that drives me nuts. Go to the bathroom's a struggle. Exercise, forget it. There's the boats moving, and the stabilizers do work great, but you still have that pitch when you're in these big swells. And the more you move around, the more seasick you feel, and it's just downhill from there. So, it could be worse. I feel pretty lucky to be out here all by ourselves on the ocean. These days, it's probably the best place to be for a lot of different reasons. And this always happens when we're out here and I start to feel this way. I start to feel just isolated and kind of really itching to get to shore and get to land. Every time we get back, especially when we get back to our marina and get back to kind of the normal routine of our life, I always wish we were right back out here. So, I always want to be somewhere else. It's kind of sad, but you gotta appreciate where you are right now. If there's any veteran cruisers out there who have a lot of experience under your belt with overnights, especially, more than one overnight, multiple overnights, if you've got some good suggestions for how you guys work through just that mental block that you get, kind of that little bit of anxiety and just kind of mental craziness when you've got so much more time ahead of you and you're kind of stuck doing not a lot. Would love to know. We realized that what ended up being a 42-hour passage is small potatoes to many cruisers. But for first-timers like us, it was a big accomplishment and a solid reminder that everything, even the midnight blues, are temporary and nothing is as good or as bad as it seems in the moment. Before we knew it, the sun had come up, the seas were flat, and we were almost to our anchorage for the night in beautiful Sequim Bay.
That was a pretty epic trip. I'm excited to do more. Just kind of scratched the surface. Got me excited about cruising farther, going to Alaska and beyond, cruising the rest of the West Coast, all the way down to Mexico and the Panama Canal. It's new to us to cruise for an overnight period of time, more than 12 hours of cruising. The first time doing that, I think, is a little bit uncomfortable, but I think it'll get better over time as we figure out what watch schedule works for us. And at the beginning of the trip, I didn't know if I wanted to do something so long, but I'm glad we challenged ourselves and went on a longer cruise. I think it was a good experience for us. Get to see more of what the boat's capable of doing out in the open ocean versus the protection of Puget Sound and the inland waters that we typically enjoy, which is fabulous. But if we want to start venturing out and cruising further, we need to be able to get comfortable in those more open sea conditions. So it was a good experience, a good teaser of what's to come. Well, there's no growth in comfort, as I'm always reminded of by you-know-who. And after this trip, we're both feeling stronger, smarter, more confident, and more excited than ever to get on with our bigger cruising plans. And as always, we hope you come along for the ride. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on those notifications, and give us a thumbs up. We'll see you next time.
Hey
guys, hope you liked that last video of our night crossing and crossing of the Columbia River Bar. It's time to get on with our weekly Q&A. Our first question comes from Jeremy. Jeremy lives in Atlanta, Georgia. He asked, how long did you search for your NORDHAVN 43 before you bought? We searched for about 3 years. From the time we made a decision that we wanted to ditch land life and move aboard a boat, it was about 3 years before that plan got put into action. We bought our NORDHAVN 43. There was other boats considered in our search. We ruled out all semi-displacement models and stuck to full displacement, probably the last year of the 3 years we were looking. So great question. Our next question comes from Bob. Bob asked, did you look at other boats other than NORDHAVN? What made you swing your decision towards a NORDHAVN? So yeah, we looked at boats we could comfortably live aboard and boats that maybe had longer cruising range. So there was some semi-displacement boats in our search initially. Some of those like Nordic tugs, American tugs, swift trawlers by Beneteau, but we ruled out the semi-displacement boats and focused our search more on full displacement boats such as Celine's, NORDHAVN's, and Katie Krogan's, just because those were the boats that were built with the durability and with the range in mind and the fuel economy that we were looking for the longer distance travel. The semi-displacement models were more on the lines of the Sea Ray that we already had, just with sort of a tug-looking or trawler-looking exterior. So for us, those boats didn't offer the sort of the capability that we were looking for long-range cruising and potentially ocean crossings. NORDHAVN seemed to be the best build of the full displacement boats we were looking at. Just in terms of standard features, including stabilizers, wing engines, just seemed to be outfitted more appropriate for the type of cruising that we wanted to do. So great question. Our next question comes from Cole. Cole asked, do you feel moving up to the next size would still be manageable with just the two of you? Yeah, absolutely. I think we could manage a larger NORDHAVN. For us, it's not in the cards, just financially. It's a lot more burden on us. Certainly from a running perspective, at some point the maintenance probably becomes too great to manage within just a couple, so you might outsource things like waxing and some of the general maintenance. But absolutely, there's many couples out on larger NORDHAVNs. Just met one this week that run a NORDHAVN 86 by themselves, so it's definitely doable. So our next question comes from John. John lives in Maryland and asked, what made you guys buy a trawler? So I think I answered it in the first two questions. We were looking for livability and we were looking for cruisability. So trawler offered both of those, a lot of space to comfortably live in and the right type of boat for the passage making that we want to do. And then our last question comes from Brian and Sarah. They live in Colorado Springs. And they asked, when you moved aboard from apartment living to living aboard the boat, did that change the sorts of meals that you can cook? Did it limit the meal options that you have when you're provisioning for longer periods of time as compared to what you normally prefer to eat? And do you have fewer kitchen appliances, and does that limit the options? So I would say since living aboard, we probably cook more. A lot of that is because when we were splitting time between places, the boat or our house were really never stocked with food. We didn't know when we were going to be there. So whenever we would purchase things for a meal, it would maybe be just to make one meal, but we were never that well provisioned. So now that we spend all of our time in one place, I think we have a tendency to stock up and prepare more. So that has made us cook a lot more on the boat. Also, this boat is a lot of fun to cook on in contrast to some of our previous boats, just because it has more fridge and freezer space. We really like having a full gas oven and stove on board, and then we also use our barbecue quite a bit. So I would say we cook more and we probably make better meals than we ever have. In terms of do we have limited meal options? Maybe sometimes only because we are provisioning for longer periods of time. You know, we used to just go to the grocery store almost every single day of the week and pick up what we had a hankering for. So this, requires a little bit more planning, and sometimes if you don't have something on the boat that you want, you have to improvise a little bit. And then the last portion of the question, the kitchen appliances. Yes, we have fewer kitchen appliances. We really only got rid of the ones that we never used. So it doesn't feel like we have any less appliances. I know also Elizabeth was upset she did have to get rid of her Vitamix. That was probably her most prized kitchen appliance, but we're making do without it, and saving a lot of space on the boat. So as always, wonderful questions. We enjoy answering them. We hope you guys have a wonderful week, and we will see you next weekend. Cheers.